Hey up folks, welcome back. So I've been looking for a small one-man tent to hopefully be a bit more stealth in, and I found this Highlander Blackthorn one-person trekking tent to take a look at. So I'm going to do a first pitch with it to make sure that everything's there, make sure I know how to put it up and take it down and pack it up again. And I thought I'd bring you along to take a look and see what you think to it. So this is it. I went for it in the camouflage colour. You can get it in like a dark green as well. It's made from polyester with a 2000mm hydrostatic head. It weighs 1.5 kilos and it packs down really quite small to 40 centimeters width by 12 centimeters across. So probably one of the smallest tents I've got in terms of pack size. So in terms of why I bought it, like I say, I wanted something quite small that I could be a bit more hidden away and stealth in. It was really cheap as well. So I got this from Winfields. I've never heard of them before. I might have been living under a rock, so if you've used them loads or you've used them before, let me know. But I paid £42.75 for the tent. It's £44.99 on the website. But if you sign up to their mailing list, just put your email address in and sign up. They'll send you a 5% discount code that you can use. And then you can always buy whatever you want. Ruby! You can always get the discount code and then unsubscribe once you've bought whatever it is that you want. They do free delivery over £50 as well, so it's worth adding a couple of extra bits to your order because it'll work out the same price as the £42 plus delivery anyway. And they do cheaper things like the Wayfarer meals and things like that, so you could always add 1 or 2 of those in to bring it over the £50. And the other reason I wanted to try this is that I don't want a bivvy. I think a bivvy would be too small for me because I like to sort of move around a little bit and roll over in the night in my sleep, and I also like to get all of my kit inside the tent with me, not leave anything outside. But we'll get it put up and we'll see if there's space to do that. So we've got instructions on the bag here, but we'll just go for it and see how we get on with it. So we've got a ground sheet, fly sheet, pegs and poles. So the pegs are these quite thin and flimsy metal ones that you'd probably expect in a cheaper tent. So there might be something you'd want to swap out. But there's 18 of them. I don't know if I need 18 to pitch the tent or if there's some spares there, but we'll find out. The bag that the pegs and the poles come in is quite thick and heavy as well, so another thing you could think about swapping out if you wanted to. And then one thing to mention is the poles are fiberglass. Looking at the design of the tent, I think they are going to be quite short, so it shouldn't be a massive issue. Yeah, the poles are relatively short, so hopefully there'll be enough strength in them to hold. I'm sure they will. Okay, so that's not just the ground sheet, it's got the inner on it as well. I think that's the head end, and that's the foot end. And for now, we just put a peg in each end. So there's just 2 poles, a bigger one and a smaller one, and they're that kind of shape. Obviously the bigger one's for the head end, and then you've got a smaller one for the foot end. So there's a fabric loop on top, and then some metal ringlets on the bottom that you just slot the pole into. Same story here, so through the fabric at the top and into the metal loops. Then there's these clips that go on. So there's 2 on the foot end and 4 clips at the head end. That just pulls the inner out a bit further and hopefully gives you a bit more space inside. Okay, now we can put this fly sheet on. So here there's some tie out points. We just tie these in a bow. So there's 2 ties at the head end that go either side of the material that the pole goes through. And then I'm guessing, yeah, it's the same at the foot end. You've got tie out points on both sides of that fabric loop. So that's just tied on with those bow ties at the minute, and then you can start to peg out. And the loops for the peg out points are all elasticated, so you should be able to get some decent tension on the tent. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 pegs. And there's 2 more peg out points on each side on these flaps that give you a bit of ventilation underneath. I'm not going to peg these out right now because I don't think we need to, just for this first look. So there's one at the head end and then one at the foot end here. So once that's pegged out, it'll allow ventilation through the tent. In fact, I'm going to peg it out because it's going to lift the tent up a bit. So let's get that done. You might want to replace these guy lines as well, because I can't remember the name now, but there's some that don't stretch. And these ones feel like they will stretch. They're just like shoelaces, so something that you would want to think about swapping out, I think. And likewise, you might want to swap out these plastic tensioners. They do the job, but better to have the metal ones, I think. You can see I'm not pegging these very far out because it's just a quick look, as I keep saying. Just making excuses, really. So I've got 4 spare pegs. I think I've pegged everything out, and we'll go and have a look inside now. So I've got 2 clips for the door. And then clips on the inner. Doesn't seem to want to hold. So yeah, again, you might want to replace these for elastic or something a bit shorter. The loops are quite big, so the toggle keeps coming back out of it. Not helpful, Ruby. Get out. So it's as you would expect, it's very cosy. So it's big enough for the sleeping mat, big enough for me to lay on my side, which is how I sleep anyway. Obviously, I won't be able to sit up in it. So the inner's mostly mesh, so it should be well ventilated. I can't see any pockets or anything. Let's get out and see if there's any storage in the vestibule. In terms of the vestibule, if I can get the tent packed into a smaller rucksack or backpack, it will probably fit down there if I'm lucky. And shoes will go here once the door's closed. There'll be storage space there. But yeah, I think we just need to get out and try it. All right, let's see if we can get it packed up. So, this is the reason why we do these garden tests, to make sure that everything's in order. Just packing the poles away, and the elastic's gone on the smaller pole. It feels like there's a tiny little bit of a sharp edge on there that's cut it. I mean, it's not a total loss, obviously. I can put new elastic in these. But if I'd just taken this tent out and that happened, I'd be a bit shafted, wouldn't I? Or not shafted because the elastic's gone in it. So when I'm replacing that, I'll probably do them both just to make sure that there's some decent elastic in them. So yeah, not ideal really, but like I say, it's something that I can easily fix. And it's a good job I checked. So I've had a bit of a rethink on the tent. I'm not going to bother fixing it and redoing the elastic. I'm just going to send it back. And I've been thinking about it a bit, and I think just because something's cheap or something's budget doesn't mean that it's acceptable for it to be not fit for purpose. So it is a relatively easy fix that I could do, but I want to make a point of saying this is not good enough. I'm going to send it back to Winfields. I'll get my money back, and then I'll get hold of another similar tent and we'll have a look at that. I think the OEX Fox 1 is a similar tent, so if I can find one of those in stock anywhere, I'll get one of those and we'll take a look. And then we can do a comparison between the Blackthorn 1 and the Fox 1. And aside from that elastic braking, I would want to replace the guy lines, the guy line tensioners, and I'll probably end up doing a few other mods to it as well. So It's not a perfect tent by any means. If the elastic hadn't snapped at that point, I'm sure it would have snapped at some point in future. Looking at it, it's not the best quality elastic inside the poles. So unfortunately, I can't recommend this Blackthorn 1 tent. I'd be doing you guys a disservice if I did, but I've shown you the things that I'd change on it. So if you want to go ahead and get hold of one and make those modifications, then I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, we'll try and get hold of something else, something similar, and we'll have a look at that. If you do enjoy these tent reviews, have a look at my last one on the Floating Cloud 2 here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.